How can one school change the course of a nation? It sounds impossible, unrealistic. But in the story of modern China, that impossible moment happened in 1924, on a quiet island in the Pearl River, when a single school, Whampoa Military Academy, opened its gates. And from those gates, marched the future. Before Whampoa, China was a land in pieces, fractured by warlords, humiliated by foreign powers, and haunted by a failed revolution. Sun Yat-sen, the visionary who had helped overthrow the Qing dynasty in 1911, watched in sorrow as his dream of a republic faded. The people had risen, but the country had not healed. The revolution was missing something. It needed force, but not chaos, not warlordism. It needed organized, loyal, and educated military power, guided by purpose, not greed. Sun realized that without trained officers who shared his ideals, no dream could last. So he dared to imagine a new kind of army, an army not of mercenaries, but of believers. In 1923, with the help of the Soviet Union, that vision began to take shape. The Soviets offered money, weapons, and advisors. Sun offered a blueprint for the future. He chose an island near Guangzhou called Whampoa, Huangpu, as the birthplace of something radical, a military academy that would also be a school of revolution. Chiang Kai-shek, Sun's fiercely loyal and ambitious ally, was chosen to lead the new academy. And on June 16, 1924, the Whampoa Military Academy officially opened. It was more than just drills and guns. Cadets were taught strategy, yes, but also nationalism, sacrifice, discipline, and unity. They read revolutionary theory. They learned that war was not just about victory, it was about rebuilding a broken nation. And from this academy came leaders, men like Lin Biao, Zhou Enlai, and Ye Jianying, who would later rise through the communist ranks. And from the nationalist side, figures like Dai Li, head of military intelligence, Hu Zongnan, who would become known as the King of the Northwest, Du Yuming, one of Chiang's most trusted generals, Chen Cheng, future premier of the Republic of China in Taiwan, Sun Li-jen, known for his command in Burma during World War II, and Zhang Lingfu, a key nationalist commander during the Chinese Civil War. Some of these men would later become bitter enemies. But here, at Whampoa, they marched together, united by the belief that China could rise again. And it did. Because in 1926, barely 2 years after Whampoa was founded, those same cadets launched the Northern Expedition, a bold, sweeping campaign to unify China under Sun's nationalist banner. They marched north, province by province, driving out warlords, reclaiming territory, and rekindling national hope. It was Whampoa's first true test, and it reshaped the nation. The school that began with idealism and discipline had become the engine of a revolution. And though Sun Yat-sen did not live to see the Northern Expedition, his belief that a new China could only be born through unity and strength, but what came next was a fracture, sudden, painful, and impossible to reverse. As the nationalists gained momentum, a growing suspicion turned inward. Chiang Kai-shek, fearing communist influence within the army, decided to purge his ranks. The turning point came in 1927 with the Shanghai Massacre, when nationalist forces violently expelled communists from their posts and executed thousands. The fragile unity forged at Whampoa was shattered almost overnight. Classmates who had once stood side by side now stood on opposite ends of the battlefield. Brothers in arms became bitter enemies. For the next 2 decades, many of Whampoa's brightest students, men who had once shared the same drills, books, and dreams, would find themselves locked in a brutal civil war. Nationalists and communists, once bound by a shared oath to rebuild China, now fought for conflicting visions of its future.